Hey everybody, it's hwsteele, and I have a question for you. Wait, I have two questions for you. First and foremost, how are you doing? I hope that you're well, and I hope that things are going well for you and your family. Now I have another question for you. Are you at all interested in the ability to be able to find some octaves in some markets? If you are, then this video is for you because I'm about to show you how you can find octave lengths in some different stocks. Stocks are what I'll be using, but you could probably use this fairly decently in other markets, not just stocks. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let me pull up the price chart here. I have Camping World Holdings here as our first example. This is a relatively young stock. This is all of the price data that there is. The IPO was back here in 2016 on October 7th, 2016. So this is a really good stock to use. It's this method of finding octave lengths or potential octave lengths is extremely simple and is best used on stocks that are 5, 10, 15, 20 years old. Stocks that you can get all of the trading data for, in other words. Like if you're looking at a General Motors or a Ford, something like that, it's going to be hard to get the original IPO information, trading information for that. So you'd want to stick with much younger companies for the ease of which you can get the original IPO information or price data. So here's what you do. You look at the IPO date, you watch the price action. The price made a high, and then it moved to a low. So the IPO was essentially a high point. You then had a swing that moved up, but it did not break the high point of the IPO. And then you had a swing that moved down. So we have an inside swing here. Swing number 2 is smaller than swing number 1. Swing number 3 here turns out to be even smaller just by a little bit than swing number 2. So this is an inside swing. So then swing number 4 right here takes us, and we have a brand new high, all-time high right at this point. So the IPO happens, creates an all-time high. A few swings later, we get another all-time high in the market, this particular stock. That's what we're going to measure, because that's the stock saying something to you, saying this is a very important period of time. It's 26 bars, and that's what we want to look at this point. The number of bars or candles, not particularly the number of trading days, okay? Or not trading days, because that's the bars or candles, but the number of calendar days. We don't want to pay attention to the calendar days at this point, but the trading days rather. So we've got 26 bars, okay? So that's our origin number. That's what we're looking at. This is going to be used to create our octave. So we're going to take the number 26. We're going to multiply it by 8. That's what's needed to create the octave. And we have a potential octave length of 208 candles. Now we want to start the measurement from this point right there. Okay, that's important. Then we're going to measure 208 bars or candles into the future and see what the results are. And we're right at a top here, nice little top for a move down. Our halfway point is right here, and we're just off the bottom right here, so that's fairly decent. And we want to, what we actually want to look at here is how the market reacts at the octave length, potential octave length, how it reacts at the halfway point, the quarter point, the eighth point, and of course the third points. So you'll want to set up one of your measuring tools to dissect a measured period of time, in this particular case 208 bars, by the ratio of half, a quarter, eighth, and thirds. Those are the numbers that Gann gives us, so those are the numbers we need to use. Now, let's look at another example. I'm going to use, Twitter. Twitter is slightly older than Camping World Holdings. Its IPO was back in 2013, November 7th. So here we have our IPO creating a high. We have a low here. We have a inside swing right there. Then we have a low that's just ever so a bit lower right here. And then we get a higher high right here. And that's what we were looking for. So we measure this again. And we see that from this high to this high is 26 bars again. Look at that. That's pretty interesting considering the fact that the genre of the company, so to speak, is completely different. This is a tech company. The other one was a camping company selling trailers and camping supplies, things like that. The IPO date was several years apart, so it's not like this is the same point in time. You know how you can get swings in a stock that match pretty closely to the general market, like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrial Average? Well, that's definitely not what's going on here. But we see another 26, so we know that the octave we're looking at is 208. So we want to measure from that point, go to 208, right there, and see how well we did. And here we see that we were at a top, very close to a top right there, a big top, the halfway point, nice bottom, the quarter point. We can guesstimate somewhere around here, but again, you'd have to have your tool set up to look at it in detail and to test it out. And if you see things that you like, then you know you have a potential octave length right there that you can use in that market to help you make forecasts with it. Let me look for one more example. All right, I'm going to pick Chewy.com for a specific reason. What? Look at this note. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, but hey, free information for you there. Okay, we have the IPO date right here, and this is a much younger company. Its IPO was back last year in June 14th. And we have a high right here, but then the market just moves lower and lower and lower and lower, and then makes a base right here over numerous months, and then eventually starts to climb, right? So looking at this price level right here, the market doesn't make a pivot top above this. In other words, it doesn't make a brand new high until right here, a pivot high. And that's important because if we look at this line right here, we see that, well, there's a brand new high there, there's a brand new high there, there's another one right there, and then there's a new high right there, and then we get a swing down. So this is our pivot high, and that's what we're looking for. Now, if you'll notice, this is a lot bigger than 26 candles, but this is what we're going to measure, and this will probably be our octave length. In other words, we don't have to measure the small swing multiplied by 8 to get the big swing. We're getting the big swing right here. So when we measure this, we see, now that's interesting. Look at that, we got 211 bars right there, which is only 3 bars off of our previous octave length. So if we take 211 divided by 8, our 1/8 seed, so to speak, is going to be 26.3, 26.4. So what does the market do if we measure 26 bars? 25, 26. Look at that. It made a low there. So this looks like it's very important to this market. So if we look at this right here, we're getting the big bottom right there at the quarter point. You can, I'll let you look at it and find out and determine whether or not this is important to you. But as in this particular stock is important to you. But what we have here, or what you now have here, is a very easy method to go in using the IPO date as your origin point and start hunting for octaves in these markets. And as you've seen, we see numbers over and over again. Again, this is a completely different genre of company. It's not a tech company. It's not a camping company. It's a pet supply company. And the IPO date is way different than the other ones were. By years. So with all that being different, we still had octaves that were the same in all these markets being measured, right? So anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about the octave for this particular video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you get some information out of it, something that you can use and will be helpful to you. So until the next time, this is hwsteele, and I'll talk to you later.